She had just gotten the kids ready for school. Their shoes were by the door, backpacks packed the night before. It was a typical weekday morning in a neighborhood where you could hear birds more than sirens. She poured juice into plastic cups, tying the youngest child's shoelaces while humming something under her breath, trying not to wake her boyfriend, who'd been drinking late into the night again. Her name was Alicia, 29 years old. A mother of 3. She worked part-time at a community daycare and sold handmade hair products on the side. Her smile was the kind that made strangers smile back. To most people, she seemed like she had it all together. But inside the walls of their small rented house, her reality was different. The man she lived with had once been her savior. He picked her up during a hard chapter, when she was rebuilding after leaving another relationship. He seemed stable, calm, even charming. But over time, his love turned possessive. Then it turned violent. At first, it was yelling. Then holes in the walls. Then apologies and flowers. Then bruises she had to cover. Alicia stayed, not because she was weak, but because she was calculating. She was saving. She was preparing. She knew leaving had to be done right, or not at all. She'd seen what happened when other women rushed. She hid small amounts of cash in a coffee can in the back of the pantry. She had a friend lined up, someone who promised a place to stay, someone who knew not to tell anyone. She waited for the perfect moment. But the moment never came. The night before, the kids had overheard them arguing. Loud footsteps, a broken plate, their mother's voice cracking as she pleaded for space. They huddled in the bedroom, the oldest clutching the youngest, trying to distract him with a story as shouting turned into thuds. When it finally went silent, they stayed awake, unsure if they were allowed to sleep. That morning, Alicia moved quietly. She'd made up her mind. She was going to leave that day. She told the kids they were going to visit their aunt after school. She kissed their foreheads, zipped up their coats. She glanced back toward the bedroom. He was still asleep. Or so she thought. She didn't hear him come up behind her. But the kids did. Their eyes widened as they saw him, eyes bloodshot, shirtless, holding the same belt he'd used to threaten her with the week before. She turned, instinctively stepping in front of her children. There was no time to run, no time to scream. What happened next unfolded in seconds but would scar her children for a lifetime. He struck her. Once. Twice. Then more. The youngest screamed. The oldest tried to pull him back, crying, "Stop. Please, stop." But he didn't. Rage had consumed him, and the world around him blurred. When he was done, Alicia was on the floor, unmoving. Blood pooled around her head. Her eyes were open, but she didn't blink. She didn't breathe. He turned on the children next. Not physically, but with threats, with words that froze their little bodies in place. "Don't you dare say a word," he hissed, before grabbing his keys and leaving. He didn't call 911. He didn't stay. It was the middle child who finally moved. Shaking, barefoot, she stepped over her mother and picked up the phone. The dispatcher heard sobbing, broken sentences, a child trying to explain something no child should ever have to. Police arrived within minutes. Paramedics too. But Alicia was gone. The living room where they once watched cartoons became a crime scene. The walls soaked in more than blood, they absorbed trauma, screams, silence. He was arrested hours later, hiding in an abandoned warehouse. Drunk, defiant, his only words were, "She pushed me." There was no fight. No self-defense. Just a man who decided that if she was leaving, she wouldn't leave alive. The children were taken in by relatives. The oldest boy didn't speak for days. The middle child started wetting the bed. The youngest kept asking when they could go home. How do you explain to a child that their home is no longer a place, it's a wound? The trial began months later. His defense was weak. He claimed mental illness. He claimed he blacked out. But the children's testimony, despite being painful and raw, was clear. They had seen everything. The prosecutor didn't need photos to make the jury weep. He had their words. And that was enough. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. But there was no celebration. No relief. Only silence. Only the echoes of what was lost. Alicia became another name in a growing list of women killed by partners who once claimed to love them. Another headline. Another photo on a memorial page. But to her children, she was mom. Their protector. Their morning hug. Their bedtime kiss. The one who braided hair and checked homework. Gone in front of their eyes. At her funeral, her mother stood up and read from Alicia's journal, pages written during those months she was preparing to leave. "I don't want to die like this," she had written. "I just want my kids to grow up safe." And yet, that's exactly how her story ended. The community mourned her. Candlelight vigils, posters calling for justice, social workers speaking at schools. But what Alicia needed wasn't candles after death, it was a system that would have protected her while she lived. She had called police once before. They told her to file a report. She never did. Maybe she was scared. Maybe she thought they wouldn't listen. Now her children are in therapy, each carrying pieces of a story they didn't ask for. The oldest says he wants to be a lawyer, so nobody else's mom has to die. The youngest draws pictures of angels with brown skin and long hair. Years from now, people may forget the headline. They may forget the killer's name. But Alicia's story will live on in her children's voices, in the hearts of mothers who still hope, still fight, still fear. Because for every Alicia, there are dozens more. Women trying to survive while raising children. Women building their escape plans in silence. Women who love too deeply, hope too long, and pay with their lives. Alicia didn't die because she made a mistake. She died because someone made a choice. And the people who loved her, especially the 3 small faces that watched it all, will live with that choice forever.